Summer Capper. We're from Lafayette, Louisiana, and you're watching Eclectic Arts.
Hello.
Hi, this is Benson Berger, and you're watching
Eclectic Arts.
Aloha, I'm Jake Shimabukuro, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media with my good friend Mark.
Let me hold this the right way. We're exiting the good light, so you guys get the awful truth. No, I'm kidding.
Then you got people that are hard workers, and then you have, hey!
He was super excited about it. He's like, we're gonna cut your eye. I was like, oh, okay, sure.
I mean, I thought it was really good. It's just half the time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, why did you do that? Why are you making that face?
As always, Mark, it's always an honor to hang out with you and spend this evening with you. And visit with you for dang sure. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I just remember looking up at the popcorn ceiling and just trying to count the stars. I didn't really know what was happening. I just didn't want to live anymore.
I know this sounds harsh, but I call child sexual abuse the American national pastime because it is that common.
The first thing you think is that you're the only person, but you're not.
I was sexually abused when I was younger, and dance was the only time that I could feel like myself.
Can they relate to me?
When a girl comes into our care, there is a lot of just emptiness in them. There is a lot of PTSD that comes with this.
When you've been abused, you actually leave your body. All of these things that kind of get you back into feeling, it allows you to get grounded.
I want them to value themselves and know their worth, and nobody should take that away from them.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Friday, the 6th of January, 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. And as always, I have a few housekeeping details to go through before we get to the interview tonight. First, I'd like to thank Jupiter Jetson for joining me. That was like on the 28th of December. So Jupiter closed out 2022 for me. And always a delight talking with her. And I do have another live stream scheduled right now coming up a week from today on the 13th at 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you'd like more details about who that is, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first, and then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. Please be aware I no longer have TikTok or Twitter out of personal choice. So I'm on certain social media platforms, but not all of them. And if this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there. This has been a long week. I really appreciate that as well. That's where I started all of this virtual work on May 22nd, 2020 with the wonderful band Alice, who was actually in the montage that I just showed a little while ago. And yeah, so I'm just glad to be back. And here we are with the very first live stream, which I think is close to about the same time when I had one in 2022 as well as 2021. I think it was the first week of January or so, and no pressure whatsoever on my guests. But what's been kind of nice is that at the December timeframe, the first guest has actually come back in 2021 and 2022. So I had Dr. Gintz, who came back from France. Didn't come back from France. He came back virtually in December of 2021. And then Jerez Ryan came back last year in 2022 to kind of talk about what they've been up to and where things are at and where they're going to and things they can promote. So we'll kind of see if that's something my current guest would be interested in doing. But that's getting ahead of myself. Let's kind of get to things. My guest today is a professional dancer and artist who is also the star and subject of a brand new documentary film called She Is, which debuts on January 17th from Gravitas Ventures. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio. I said that wrong, but please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media Virtual Studio. I have to keep putting the media in there. Miss Isabella Grosso. Hi, Isabella. How are you?
I was expecting for the applause sound, but that's okay.
I have to work on that. How are you?
Okay. I'm doing great this evening. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time. I was so moved by your film, as I mentioned pre-show, and I can't wait to talk to you about it and let everybody else out there know about it so they can get ready to buy it and get ready to view it. And so let's kind of start there and we'll kind of work our way back and see how we're doing with time and those kinds of things. So for someone who is watching this right now or watching like a few days from now, what is this documentary about if they have nothing to work from?
So this documentary is about my story, my journey in self-discovery, because I am a survivor of child sexual abuse and trafficking. And it shows how dance healed me. It really just connected me to my body again that was taken away. And my experience, I wanted to share it with girls and women all over the world, and how it helped me. I wanted to help them heal. And then you see our journey going to Southeast Asia and working with these beautiful humans, soul, spirit girls, and see how they come out through learning dance and how they feel comfortable in their body.
Yeah, that's a beautiful description of what the film is, and I have to applaud you for making this film. I imagine it couldn't have been easy at times, because you don't hide anything about your background or what you went through. So what was that process like for you to even get ventured into this this documentary film about your life?
So I think I was like, this is such a great idea. People can see the work that we do. But then once I put myself in it and then had to do the interviews and talk about myself, it was so difficult, very emotional, roller coaster. I mean, I was going through, I was doing therapy at the same time, which my therapist you see on there. So going to therapy, taking dance class, and then having PTSD, and then shooting at the strip club. That wasn't the first club that I ever worked at. That was the second club that I worked at. But going back there and reliving those memories, it was so hard, and I was just a mess when I got back home. I was just like, I couldn't function. It was just really difficult. I didn't realize that it would have that effect on me, because I do heal. I do really work on myself. So I was just like, why am I feeling all of these emotions? And so it was definitely really difficult for me, for sure.
Yeah, and again, for myself, I can only imagine again what you're going through, and then again putting yourself out there to create this film that creates not only awareness, but it's going to be something of like getting it from someone's first perspective, point of view. It's not someone commentating on it from the outside. I mean, there's other guests, of course, and like you mentioned, your therapist is in the film and some other people, but it's really about your journey and your story in your nonprofit and how you found dance as a way to heal yourself, as long as men as I can't even speak today, as well as many other girls around the world. So it's really, really powerful in that sense for people that are watching this right now. But you can understand like how many different emotions it's going to conjure up in you when you're watching what Isabella describes and goes through, and yeah, just the journey that she's been on. So let's kind of do this in terms of the timeline. So in terms of the film, when did you actually start filming, like the scenes that the interviews and the other things that you need to do to start getting this ball rolling? When did that start?
Oh my gosh, it's been so long. When we started filming, Did we do interviews here first? I think our first trip was in 2017 where we went to Southeast Asia, which you see there working with the young girls. So I think we started there and then we kind of backtracked to my story and then going to the house where I grew up in. So that's initially how the whole filming started. And we learned a lot in this process. Susanna did an amazing job. It's her first film directing. So we definitely learned a lot throughout the whole film and how to get everything, situated, and then the interviews. So the interviews did come through the last part. So I think that's we started there, and then we just worked backwards in doing that, and then just kind of all over the place, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it does make sense, and I've been so fortunate that I've been able to talk to so many different film folks over the last 2.5, 3 years now, that it's been really impressed upon me that films sometimes take a long time, like you just mentioned, the Southeast Asia trip from 2017, and then kind of working around that and all these other things. It's like, it wasn't just done in, a couple of weeks, folks. It was like this whole long process. And when you're talking about the subject matter that you are in the film, I would think that's got to be even tougher then, because it's not like you're in and out. It's like it just you keep talking about it and going to different places. And like you said, childhood home and the second strip club and things of that nature. Was that kind of true for you? That it's like, can we just kind of be done and kind of start editing this thing?
Honestly, I when we would do interviews, I'd be like, okay, I'm done interviewing. I'm finished, because it would be just so overwhelming, and then reliving those moments and then having to repeat myself. And also, it's a documentary film, so it's not like a scripted film. We do have a writer, obviously she wrote out the whole treatment, but this is, there's no dialogue. It's just going in it and talking about it, in the purest form, in my truth. And then, we'll see how long the interview is. But sometimes, because Susanna is one of my good friends, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And she would just have to finish. So.
Were there, I have a random mind, so forgive me, but were there ever times during, like if you're doing another interview or if you're doing something related to the film with the director, your good friend, where it got contentious, where you were like, hey, I'm done, I don't want to do any more today, and she's kind of like having to kind of still nudge you, like, we just another 5 minutes, or let's kind of go through that one more thing, or is it like pretty smooth sailing?
Because we are good friends, I think she understood, and she really, because you have to think, I'm reliving so many past memories and trauma and PTSD. So she, even though I had to really push through, like the desert dance was a lot, and emotionally, and then being so open and vulnerable with a lot of dancers too that I know, but that don't really know my story. So it was really hard, but sometimes I would just be like, okay, you can do this, you can finish. But other times it'd be like, I can't function right now. It's just not, like, I couldn't be authentic. I think if anything, I was more going to break down, so I would have to finish, and she respected that.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like perhaps that this film may have not been able to have been made if it was by a director that you didn't know per se. So it's like you said, someone who understands you and kind of knows when to push, when not to push, when to be supportive. But yeah, that, again, folks, trust me, this is worth watching when it comes out. It's very rare when I will actually want to talk to multiple creatives with a film, and we've already kind of let that cat out of the bag that the director will be coming on next week. That's how much I think of this film. So, there's so.
And I have to say, sorry, I have to say something else about that. It's like when you're working with a survivor. So when we teach these girls dance and we build this trust with them, we can't push them. We have to make sure that they feel okay, that they feel safe with us, that they trust us. So I think if we were to push them, we're not building a trust with them. They're gonna see us as the abuser. So Susanna's been what she is since 2015. So she's gone, to mission trips with us. So she sees the work and she teaches dance too. So she knows not to push somebody who is just so broken. We just have to give them space, let them breathe until they feel comfortable and safe, and, you know, allow us to be with them and feel that they can just trust us. So in shooting this film, I think Zuzana understands that, to not push me.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that, because you mentioned that the word safe space, and that's got to be huge. And like we talked a little bit pre-show about my own personal background, you have to really kind of know how to first just know that people have a safe space to be in, and then you can start to work with what you're trying to do in terms of a positive approach to things, not sit there and needle and poke and whatever else you're going to do. It's like they've had that done to them a gazillion times. It's the last thing they need. They don't need more of it coming from somebody else. And I had to try to impress that upon one of my supervisors at one of my previous jobs. Like, look, I'm taking small steps because I need to build up trust here. Because he was kind of wondering why I'm not, teaching more math or more English or more whatever. It's like, look, I'm trying to get to know them as people, and they're trying to get to know me too. Can I trust this bald Asian guy? What's his deal? What's he bringing to the table? Is he just like another adult in my life that I can't trust? And and once you get that trust, boy, it's sacred. I mean, you cannot do anything to mess it, because once you break it, you go right into that same line with every other adult that's been in their life.
Absolutely. You're just starting all over again. So.
Yep. And in many cases, it's one and done. You won't get another shot at it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm past you. I'm on to somebody else, and maybe not at all. But I think another aspect of the film, though, is it really is very empowering too. And for people that who watch it, when they get a chance to watch it, who might be going through something similar that they can relate to, that they're kind of feeling, and you mentioned this in the film, about that you feel like you're the only one when it first happens to you, and then you realize, no, you're not the only one. And there are support groups like your own to help you cope and find ways to express yourself and kind of find yourself again.
Yeah.
And so with your own nonprofit that started in 2014, also called She Is, what was I know what the background would be, but what got you to the point of saying, you know what, I'm going to start a nonprofit? Because it's one thing to think, it's nothing to do it.
So I was in the strip club industry for 10 years. I started when I was 16, and I needed to get out of the industry. I was in it too long. So I was like, how do I meet other women outside of the strip club? I felt like that was my world. I didn't know anybody else. So I found this organization called Women Empowered. I went to a few of their events that was out here in LA, and I met some other women who started their own businesses, and just anything that they wanted to do, they started themselves. So I was really inspired, and I was like, I need to do something. I need to do something else. This can't be my life. So I ended up becoming a board member, and the founder was like, well, what do you do? I'm like, well, I dance. I can teach dance. So I started doing after school programs out in like East LA. I would teach dance to the girls after class. So I started doing that, and then I started working with Children of the Night, and I found out that it was a nonprofit that would help girls who have been sexually abused, prostitution, sex trafficking, all that are dealing with the same things that I was dealing with. So I started teaching there, and I loved it. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. I just felt like this is something that I wanted to start. And being a board member of Women Empowered, I was like, I think I can do this. Let me just try it. And once we started, it was me and two other girls. We just met up and decided, you know what, I have this idea. I want to do it. What do you guys think? And then that's how She Is started. And we did our first mission trip like a month later in 2014, where we partnered up with Destiny Rescue, which is a nonprofit we work with out in Southeast Asia, and just developed this relationship with them. And we just went every year after that. So we haven't gone since COVID. So the last time we were in Southeast Asia was 2019. So we haven't seen the girls or anything like that, which is really sad. We really miss them a lot. So hopefully we'll be able to go this year again.
Okay, well that's fantastic that you started a nonprofit and you're kind of like, well, I want to do this, so I'm going to see if I can do this, and clearly you've done it. And I'm kind of curious, how did you find and get partnered up with the nonprofit in Southeast Asia? I mean, how did it come across your purview?
Well, two of the women who work with me, where she is when we first started, went to an event and they met, like I guess a coordinator that worked for Destiny Rescue. So, you know, she told them what we did and like they said what they did, and then that's how we partnered up. So it was really easy. It just happened super quick, and we just went on our mission trip like the next month. So it would just happen like organically.
Okay, well, and that's sometimes the best way. Things, sometimes life just kind of hands you something. It's like, oh, I'm looking to do I'm starting up this nonprofit. Oh, here's somebody that this is what we do over in Southeast Asia. It sounds like we have a similar mission. That's awesome. And how long did it take you and your other partners to come up with the name She Is for the nonprofit?
Oh my God, that took so long. It was actually me and one of my other friends, Michelle, who's a part of She Is as well. It took us so long, and it wasn't until there's a nonprofit called 1 Billion Rising, and their song says "She is da da da, she is," and I was like, she is. I'm like, oh my God, I kind of like that. So then that's how She Is came into fruition. So
that's cool, because I like how with She Is you can have so many different words, adjectives right after she. Like she is powerful, she is creative, she is strong, she is all of these, you know, wonderfully positive things, and it kind of speaks to every female out there, really.
Yeah.
That's what was that first mission trip like for you, the one in 2014, the very first time you went over there to Southeast Asia?
Eye-opening. I think as a survivor, you know, which I do say, which you did mention, you think like you're the only one, but you're not. But I thought I was the only one in Los Angeles or in the United States. But then when you go overseas and you just see what these young girls have been through, I was just like heartbroken. And the fact that they're still smiling and just have so much joy on the inside was like, it didn't make sense. I'm like, I don't understand how you can be so happy when you've experienced this. But in their culture, it's normal. It's, you know, it happens a lot. So they're used to it. So that's when I was just like, I need to do this every year. I need to get this out more. And I don't think a lot of people realize how powerful dance is and just moving your body. We store so much trauma in our body, and it just builds and builds and builds. And so how do you release it? It's by movement. You know, you don't have to be a professional dancer to just dance. It's like if you hear a song that you really like and like you play it, automatically your endorphins go up, you get excited, you feel good. So that's what I want them to feel. And then I want them to feel that this is their body. It's nobody else's. Nobody should take that away from you. So it's like we're instilling this body movement with just so much joy. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And when we first meet the girls, they're so like, you know, hard to open up and like trust us. But then at the end of the 2 weeks, we see them grow so much. And it's such a beautiful, it's just so beautiful to see that, wow, dance is really powerful. Wait, my friend's here and she's trying. Oh my gosh, she's like crawling right now. Okay, it's okay. Sorry.
No, oh, no problem at all. That's part of being live.
I know. There's some comedy for you. So.
No, and it's I would think too, it was like you're talking about for the girls when they first when we start working with them and dancing and getting them to take control of their bodies, and that no one has control over this other than you. That having those breakthroughs when you can see them starting to just feel it and kind of loosen up and taking some joy back in their life, like that you help give them through dance. That's got to be like one of the best feelings in the world for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I feel like for me, my experience, like I'm a testimonial of how dance really empowered me. So when I didn't dance for 2 years, my parents separated. I didn't have dance, so I didn't have an outlet to express myself, to move through the abuse. I felt so alone. I tried to end my life twice because I didn't know what was going on. And now that I'm aware of it, I was just like, oh my God, it was from, PTSD, not feeling comfortable in my own skin. So I didn't have dance for 2 years. I just kept building all of this trauma, not being able to move it through. And that's why I was just like, I need to share this with other girls or boys or, whoever has been abused, that no, you need to move your body. You need to get this trauma out. I just think it's so important. So I can only base it off what I know and then seeing these young girls and how much it's healed and helped them.
Yeah, when you're telling your story about early on about volunteering and helping out in after school programs and Children of the Night, it reminds me, and I mentioned this to you before we went live, that I used to work with gang involved youth, and through one of my coworkers, her daughter had an acting background, so I was like, do you think she would ever want to come in and like teach like an hour of performance art or just something with my students? And mom said, oh yeah, she'd have no problem with that because she grew up in the area, so she knew exactly what my students were like. And it was I wish I'd filmed that like the very first time she came in, because they're all like this and they don't want to do anything. And then through the course of another Friday, they learned to love it. They started to open up because there's a lot of laughter in the room, and I was always involved with these too. So I'm like, hey, I'm not an actor either, so I'm gonna do exactly what you guys have to do too. So I'm not just saying you guys do this while I go take a break for half an hour or whatever. It's like, no, and that was embarrassing to me because I'm not the most forward person.
Yeah.
But that change, it was so awesome to see, and just using something at the time that they thought was kind of unorthodox. Well, Mark, why are you having a performance art teacher come in here? It's like, this is a different way to reach these guys so they can actually be 12 and 13 and 14 years old instead of having these hard, gang members from Seattle. But it all goes back to that safe space first. If we didn't create that, none of that could have happened after it. So everything you're saying is definitely ringing true.
Yeah, I remember when I first started teaching at Children of the Night, there was this one girl who just was like just in the corner, like, I'm not going to do that, and just had such a bad attitude towards me. And then, they have to take the class. That's just, they have to participate. So if they don't participate, I have to let the counselors know, okay, this person didn't participate. So she didn't want to dance. And she just got really frustrated when I told her that she had to. And she's like, you don't know what I've been through, and da 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 da. And I was like, excuse me, I know exactly what you've been through. I've been this happened to me. I know how I felt. I felt alone. I was scared, and just opened up about myself, which you're kind of not allowed to really do when you're teaching these girls. But after that, she became the best dancer in the class, and she helped other girls if they didn't understand a move. And then when I wasn't there, she started teaching the girls the choreography that I taught. So it just obviously made me feel so good, but I was just like, that's right. So
that's a beautiful story. It reminds me of, well, I had one 8th grader that we went 15 rounds. I mean, she just did not want to do anything in my class. I said, look, you're here because the school district appointed that you needed to be in my program. You can't go back until you complete my program. And it wasn't until the very end, I think it was in June, her sister was graduating from high school and she needed to leave class early to go be at the graduation. And she wanted to get her hair done and all that kind of thing and look sharp. And she came up and asked me if she can leave 15 minutes early. I said, yeah, as long as I talk to your mom, get her on the phone. I'll make sure the mom's okay with this. I don't have a problem because I know where you're going. And she looked at me funny, like, you don't trust me, you don't believe me. I was like, I have to ask this because the position I'm in. Just get your mom on the phone. And so I talked to mom and said, mom said exactly, if you could let her go, that would be so great because I'm going to meet her over where, salons are going to and all that kind of thing. And once that happened, just her whole body language just softened. Just like, you actually believe me. And now I understand why you had it. We kind of saw like a meeting of the minds kind of a thing. And for the next, I only had her for another 8 days after that, but she was like the best student in my class. And it was like, there's no drama, no attitude, no anything. And when she got a chance to graduate and get the certificate from me, hugged me the whole bit. And she wouldn't want nothing to do with me up to that point.
I know.
But it's amazing. Yeah. When you have those breakthroughs, like you said, and in your case, it's like, no, I've been where you've been. So I know all these things. So you can't, I'm trying to show you that this is how you can also heal yourself because I've been there. And gosh, as you said, you have to reveal a lot about yourself. I know I did with my class because most teachers, in my case, they don't do that. They're told not to do those things. Don't talk about, if they ask you these questions, or just say, no, it's not appropriate for class. It's like, no, I'm going to talk about these things. That's how we get past this.
It's over here when we teach out here, it's definitely harder, but once we do it overseas, they want us to talk about our experiences more. So when I do when I have everybody sit down in a circle and share a little bit, I share my story, and it's such a huge breakthrough because these girls are like, wait, that happened to you too? Oh my God, they want to talk, and then they start, you saw it in the documentary, but I would do one-on-one sessions with them afterwards because it started to go so long after that, because then one by one, it was just like a ripple effect of everybody sharing their story, and they felt so alone and scared. I mean, one girl that I did a one-on-one with, her parents sold her for a TV. And you're like, wait, what? It didn't even click in that this happened, but it happened so many times. One of the other girls, her mom sold her because a psychic told her that she was a bad odom, or just like a bad fortune to the family.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just makes no sense.
Yeah, and you touch on it in the film too about and you mentioned it earlier in this interview about how it's a different culture, it's a different mindset over there. And I know when I was watching the documentary and the one girl's story over there in Southeast Asia about how she was sold to her uncle. It's like, that's when it just hit me in the face of just how it's like, oh my God, I didn't know what to say. I mean, that's when you get so emotional about, I can't believe on so many different levels that this kind of thing happens. And yet to them, it's like, no, I got a friend that had that, a cousin or whoever, a neighbor, that just happens all the time. For a TV, that's just like, oh my God, it's so heartbreaking. But then it's so great that an organization like your organization, she is over there trying to connect through dance and show these girls that this isn't normal, and we can't change what happened to you, but we sure as hell can change how you move forward and how you can release these things so that you can start feeling whole again.
Yeah, I think also once abuse happens, it's not like, okay, well, it's over, you're not being abused anymore, that's it. It's just like, no, there's so much work that you have to do after that happens. Just from one incident, the trauma is so much bigger that you just need to break it down and heal and just work through so much. And it's hard. I have bad days myself, And sometimes I get mad at myself because I'm like, I'm supposed to be a leader to these girls and they look up to me. But then I'm like, I'm also human, so I'm going to have, PTSD feelings or not feeling safe. And so it's just, no matter what, I still work on myself a lot. And it's a process, but it's worth it because I just learned so much about myself and how I can help and heal others.
Yeah, and you're so right. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Isabella, about that this is a process. That's not, I've gone through my own mental health struggles over the years. I've been kind of transparent about that on my live streams. That it's something that it's up and down. And sometimes in my case, I can't predict it. So I might be, hey, I got a great day today. I got something going on tonight. I'm looking forward to covering this opera tonight or whatever. And I can wake up that morning of and already tell like, oh shit, it's going to be one of those days. We got that big heavy ass blanket feeling on me that I can't get off. And you're right. I've had people that were looking up to me. I've had students, college students, other people in different types of jobs I've had from my day jobs. And it's kind of like part of my brain saying you shouldn't be like this because you're supposed to be this person that they look up to. But then the other part saying you just have to deal with what's in front of you, which is that you feel like shit right now, Mark. And it's going to be a process for you to kind of get back to center. And that's just the way it is. Don't get down on yourself, but it's so easy to say and it's hard to do. And it sounds like it's something similar to what you're describing.
Yeah, I think we have to give ourselves a little bit more grace and just know everything's going to be okay. It's just a process that we have to do and know that we're safe and, we will get through it. But once we're in it, we're like, why? So.
Yeah, no, I totally relate to that. And it's even been hard just trying to let people know in my own circle here. Like if I'm having a bad mental health day, I'm actually telling them that instead of saying some other kind of excuse. Oh, I don't feel well, or I had, what something else is kind of like, no, this is what's going on with me. So if you don't understand what that is, that's okay. That's fine. But at least you know the truth that's coming out of me. And it kind of helps at least some of the people in my circle try to understand like, what can they do? And a lot of times there isn't anything they can do. Just kind of be, just be supportive in the way of like, I know mentally that you're there and then I need to kind of figure these steps out. Because when you don't have anybody there in your backyard or, behind you, that's when it's like, well, crap, I don't have anything. And your support system, it means so much. And it comes from many different places too, not just the common areas. So. Well, such a powerful film, powerful nonprofit that you started. I'm curious of what kind of work our way back to the film things. Did you and your team decide that you're going to make this film, and then did you do like the film festival circuit, and then try to find a distributor, or how did everything get to be where it's going to be coming out in about a week and a half?
No, we didn't do any festivals or anything. I was just like, Susanna, do you want to do a documentary? And she's like, yes. I'm like, great, here you go. And then she just took it on just like amazingly. Like I could never do what she did. And I'm just so grateful to have her because she got it done. I think for me, I would have been like, well, I don't know, should I? Or she just like went head on and just did it all. So, and then the whole team did. And then the She Is team are just amazing. Like I couldn't do this on my own. They have been so incredible, supportive, and just amazing human beings. And I just love them so much. And, they help me be a stronger person. And I'm just so grateful that I have an incredible team. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That you found a distributor for your film and it's ready to go. And obviously people like me in the media are getting a chance to see it and preview it and write about it. And I'm going to be raving about it since I need to do that this weekend. Write my review. But because I also know sometimes that's one of the hard things about film is just trying to get somebody that will get it out to people. And there's so much content available, as we all know. If you sit in front of your TV and you start streaming stuff through whatever streaming app you're looking at, that certain things have to definitely stand out. And again, I can't say enough good things about your film. And it's everything. I mean, there's so many different emotions that happen by watching this film, folks. So, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there's a sale going on right now for people that can pre-order and pre-buy it.
Yeah, you can pre-order it now for $6.99 until Monday. Sunday or Monday.
Okay. So you got.
But it's also $12.99 too. So, and then we will have a sale the next following weekend after that.
Okay, so they've got at least one or maybe a couple opportunities to maybe save a few dollars, but even if they don't, it's still not too many dollars anyway to buy this film, to be able to watch it. Again, we showed the trailer earlier there, so if you're just joining us right now, you can go back and watch the trailer at the beginning of this live stream. Do you have plans to have like a premiere somewhere in a theater, or with your friends, or have you already done that, or what's happening with this whole?
So we've done that in April. We just had a little viewing with the dancers who are a part of it, the producers, everybody who was involved, and just close personal friends be a part of that. So I don't think we're going to have another one. A few of my friends are like, are we going to have a viewing party? And I'm like, I saw it so many times. But I love to hear people's reactions and, their thoughts about it. I absolutely love it so much. So yeah, it's out there for the world to see. And I think also for, my objective with the film is somebody who resonates with it and who feels like, oh, this helped me grieve or work on a part of myself that I didn't realize, or wow, dance, I never thought about it. This can help this part of trauma that I'm going through. I just really want, I wish it never existed. I wish sexual abuse, sex trafficking, all of that was just like, what is that? It's not even a word, but it does exist out there. And I just hope that these young girls, whoever is watching, that you can heal from this. It's a process. You definitely have to work on yourself every single day. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days, but to always believe that, to have hope within yourself and that you're not the only one, and you can come out of this, with just being a different person, because it's not who you are. It's something that happens, but you can move past through it. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's again, it's so inspiring that you chose to be so vulnerable and put your story out there in such a big way, because literally this will go around the world for people to watch. They could be a whole different country watching your film, and it could be like, oh, and it could be someone next to them that's watching it in their household that could be like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening to me or to my friend at school, and you just never know where these ripples go. But it had to start with you being willing to share what you've done. So I just completely have nothing but respect and applaud what you've done. And it kind of begs the question to me a little bit of, with my own nonprofit background, have you ever looked into trying to have She Is expand, like another She Is in, I don't know, Portland, She Is in Seattle, She Is, the nonprofit aspect of it?
I would love that. Anywhere around the world. We actually tried it in Southeast Asia to get a Safeway house for these girls, but then it just didn't work out. So, but I definitely would love that for sure.
Yeah, it seems like such a powerful way to reach folks and to help them heal, and it seems like such a great concept that I would love to see it replicated, like literally around the world in different cities. And it can all go back to you and the folks that you started with back in 2014. And for folks that are watching this, the link to the film is in the YouTube description. Show us some of the social media things, and the nonprofit's also linked down there. And Isabella, before we kind of say goodnight, what are some of the parting words you have for people about the film, about your nonprofit, just in things in general? What else would you like to get out there?
Well, if somebody is struggling with like PTSD, sexual abuse, and you need somebody to talk to, reach out, or need any other resources, maybe dance isn't for you, reach out, let me know. I can steer you in the right direction, because I don't want anybody to feel alone. Know that you have a safe space with me, with my whole team. We're always available. So, just having our information below would be great. And also, I did write a memoir about my life, so that's available too. Definitely hard to write. It's obviously you see a few of my about me in the documentary, but this is just more in detail and how it all started. So that's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and yeah.
Is the memoir also available as a hard copy book? Okay.
Yeah.
I love tangible things. I don't want to be like the e-reader.
Oh,
person.
I'm the same way. I love the smell of books too. I just love holding it and just, yeah.
Okay, cool. And so I believe that's available probably through the nonprofit website with the stories, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It is.
And for folks out there too, if you just want to you just love what you heard from Isabella and want to make a donation, there's a way to donate straight from the nonprofit as well. So no dollar amounts too small. So just know that this lady and her team is doing some really, really powerful things out there. So they deserve all the support that you can muster up. Isabella, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I really appreciate it. Again, you're the first live stream guest I had for 2023.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you don't be surprised if I come knocking in December to kind of say, hey, remember me? Would you be interested in coming back on to kind of talk about what's been going on in your world and see if it works, or if it doesn't, that's okay too. No harm done. But I would love to have you come back on. I love having guests come back on and kind of talk about where they're at. And if you have something in between there, something also happens with the film or something else to promote, I'd love to have you come back on for that as well. So just kind of know I have an open door.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, have a great, what is this? A great Friday night, great
Yeah.
weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.